Hello and welcome everyone. Path of Exile 2 is finally out in early access, available to play, and I have been having an absolute blast with this game. And today I wanted to do a real quick guide on the early game, specifically the Act 1 boss as the Ranger. Now, I've mostly been playing as the Ranger, and I've been having a lot of fun, and I would highly recommend this class, especially for beginners. The Ranger is strong, great at dealing with packs, great at dealing with bosses, and doesn't require a complicated skill rotation, making it the perfect class for anyone to just pick up and play. The most important thing to pay attention to with the Ranger is your bow. This is where most of your damage is coming from, so don't be afraid to go all out here with some of your currencies. Warden Bow is the best bow at this point in the game, so make sure to grab one of these and start adding affixes. We really want increased damage and increased attack speed here. Also be sure to add sockets to your bow, as this will really help push you over the edge to get that extra damage needed to rush down the boss. Your second most important piece of gear is your quiver. Like the bow, we want extra damage affixes here, as many as we can get. We're going for raw damage, the idea being that if we can kill the boss quickly, that's less time we'll need to spend dodging attacks that can possibly one-shot us. That brings us to rings. Definitely use iron rings here for the added damage, and once again make sure to upgrade these as much as you can afford. For defensive gear, we want to prioritize life and cold resistance. This boss is going to be dealing cold damage, so make sure you're wearing the appropriate charm on your belt, i.e. a cold charm. My gear is kind of bad here, and I'm still able to take a hit without getting immediately killed, so there is some wiggle room here. I like attack speed and life on my gloves, and for boots, you need at least 10% move speed. This is non-negotiable. Move speed is one of your most important defensive stats as the Ranger, and your ability to kite and dodge is dependent on it, so ignore this at your peril. Moving over to skills, I didn't use bowshot for this fight, but I think you can, and you might even have a better clear speed with it. Bowshot technically scales better than your skills with the damage. It's really just a matter of how easily you want to kill the wolf packs, and whether you think you can consistently have lightning rods on top of the boss. If you do want to try bowshot, use the support skills that I have on lightning arrow in bowshot instead. Now for lightning arrow, I run lightning infusion and martial tempo for extra damage and attack speed. One of the best pieces of advice I can give is when you're picking support skills, make sure you're looking at all the possible skills and not just the recommended ones. It's a little hidden, but there's a button you can press to show more support skills. I'm using a PlayStation controller. For me it's the square button, it might be different for you. This gives you so many more options in terms of how your skills perform. It took me a little while to realize this option was there, but once I did see it, it opened so many doors for me, I can't even tell you. Now next up is Poison Burst Arrow, and for this I run Corrosion and Persistence. Corrosion will slowly eat away at the enemy's armor while poison is ticking, and Persistence makes your poison last 40% longer, so instead of 2 seconds, it will last for 2.8 seconds without any additional support. And this means more time you can be firing lightning shot or bow shot, and eventually the enemy's armor will break, which makes a noticeable sound in-game, and you'll be doing a lot of extra damage as a result. Now for lightning rod, I like to run concentrated effect and scatter shot. Scatter shot makes it so that we're firing 3 rods at a time instead of just 1, and concentrated effect means we're doing more damage. Bosses are big boys, it's easy enough to get the rods in them, so I think more damage is better here instead of more area. But if you're less confident about your ability to keep the rods on him, maybe go for more area here. I also have Escape Shot, Herald of Thunder, and Freezing Salvo. Herald is just kind of always on in the background, and the other skills I didn't use for this fight, but they can be super helpful. For Freezing Salvo, I would recommend the support gem that increases damage, but also adds 10 seconds to your cooldown. You're really only firing this once all 12 arrows have charged up, which takes a little bit of time, so really it's all upside here in terms of damage. And moving over to the skill tree, I take extra projectile damage, no surprises there. I also like to take these defensive flask passives. On average, these passives are giving you a whole extra flask consumption on a boss fight, which can sometimes be the difference between life and death. Further down, we're taking some more projectile damage, and then one of my favorite nodes, heavy ammunition. Since poison damage is based on the amount of damage you hit with, a 40% increase here is huge for us. We're also going to be stunning more often, which is the perfect time to land some more rods and go all out with the lightning arrow. Alright, you've heard enough of me yapping, let's get to the gameplay. Now this boss is split up into two different phases. The first phase is pretty easy, there's not too much to worry about here. The second one is a little bit more involved with the mechanics. So here we are going to see him charge up and fire little ice bolts at us. We don't want to be too close. Here you can see I get slashed, but not enough to one-shot me. And here is our stun really paying off here. And wow, look at that health bar go. Alright, now he's turning into a wolf a little bit. He's charging us some more. Now for some of these attacks, he will sort of shout out a catchphrase here, so that can be your key to dodge. Make sure you dodge roll and don't get pinned against the wall with these sword attacks. After you do enough damage, he will transform into his true form, which is the corrupted wolf. Alright, here he is, Sword Wolf, the Putrid Wolf, I should say. And here one of the attacks is Ice Blast, make sure we don't get caught in that. And as far as the skill rotation, we want to land one poison arrow and then switch to our main damage dealer lightning arrow. Now he's going to be summoning wolf packs at us, as well as reciting some poetry. Make sure to kill the packs so they don't do too much damage. And then he does the charges sort of in between lines of the poetry. So once he's done talking, you know he's going to be charging, and you want to be ready to have that dodge available so that you can dodge the attacks. Alright, once he's done with that, we have this red circle effect. And then finally, these flashing beams of light. These we just want to walk out of the way from or dodge out of the way from. And here stun is getting us a bunch more hits in. Love to see it. Yeah, we are already 3/4 done with this fight. Absolutely incredible damage we're dealing here. And really that's all there is to it. Make sure to avoid the ice blast, make sure to avoid these red circles. Once he's down to about 25%, he will do the empowered light flashes, but you just dodge these the same way. And that's really all there is to it. Now hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and happy hunting!